welcome back. We're going to do a little video today on, we're going to do some more work on the El Camino. We're going to try and get them spark plugs changed out. Get that power distribution block for the remote start hooked up and kind of whittle away at it. We got a pretty nice day. It's supposed to turn to crap tomorrow, so I figured today would be a perfect day to come out here and do a little bit more, you know, keep this train rolling. Won't be long, we'll have her fired up here. And when I get the spark plugs out, I'll show you guys what I look for when it comes to, you know, how I see where my timing's at, you know, the timing mark on the straps, how the cadmium's burning on the top of the plug, where your fuel ring is down at the porcelain, you know, down at the bottom of the porcelain. You can tell a lot on a motor on how your spark plug's burning. So, you know, it's a trick I learned back in the day. So we were supposed to get the boys' block back this week from the machine shop too, and I guess they've been kind of slow over there. You know, people are off because of either daycare or their stuff like that. So I told them ain't no big deal. You know, just take your time. We'll get her when it's ready. But you know, he's getting pretty antsy. He's ready to go on that too. But I just wanted to shout out to you guys and tell everybody I hope you're safe. Hope you guys have a great Easter tomorrow too. We're going to have a nice big dinner here, family over, so I can't wait. We're going to be stoked about that. But okay, guys, well, let's get tearing into this thing. All right, hold tight. All right, guys, we got all the plugs out of them, and I want to kind of go over and show you what I was talking about, how I read my spark plugs. Remember, these are the old 3923s Autolite racing plug that when I got the heads from AFR, you know, they gave me the chart on what they wanted, recommendations on what spark plug to run. And I messed up, you know, I picked the one that said race gas, you know, 9.5 to 1 to 11 to 1, which, or 8 to 10 pounds of boost. Well, this ain't a boost motor. This is a naturally aspirated, you know, motor from 9.5 to 1 to 11 to 1. So it was my own fault why, you know, we had a steady cruise and idle, we were, you know, killing the plugs. So we're stepping up to the right plugs now, but I kind of wanted to go over with you and show you what I look for. So hold on, here we go. All right, you see the porcelain in there? That's cocoa brown. That wasn't too bad, but you know, we got a good burn rate on the cadmium here too. The cadmium's the top, the flat part of the plug there. And you can actually see, now if the light will cooperate, right there, right at where the bend, it starts, that straight part where it starts to go up to the bend, that's the timing mark. So, you know, I like to run mine right in the middle. You know, that's a happy spot. But, you know, actually, you know, you can actually see where it starts to change colors right at the bend there. That's your timing mark. So, it was pretty happy. I got it at 34 degrees. So, but you always want to look at your porcelain ring and your cadmium to see what kind, you know, that's burning. You know, they ain't actually burning too bad, but these plugs weren't in there that long. I think me and the missus, we took a ride to Linwood once with them, and you know, just around the block a couple times, having some fun. But yeah, that's how I read the plugs, guys. Your timing mark will show up on your strap. You know, you want to make sure you got a nice full burn all the way around the plug on your cadmium. You always look for oil or you know, signs of detonation. Which, if you see detonation, if your timing's too far, you'll see speckles in your porcelain and around your electrode on top of the porcelain. You'll see speckling, it's called, and you'll see it on your cadmium a lot here too, on the outer edge of your plug here, this flat part. You'll see a lot of speckling there. You'll know you're too far advanced. That's called detonation when you get that. But all right, well, I'm gonna get back at her and see if we can get these back in here, and maybe we'll get her fired up today. No promises. I mean, it took me an hour and a half just to get these out. It ain't no fun with these Hooker Super Comps. So, all right, we'll see you in a bit. All right, guys. I ended up wrestling with these plugs a little bit. I'm getting ready to put the new ones in. I got them all gapped. See, this motor is 10.8 to 1. so I'm going to tighten up the gap a little bit. Usually they come around 35 thousandths. I'm going to tighten up the gap to around 32 thousandths and put them in. But we ended up getting a timing pointer done. But I'm also on this video, I'm going to show you guys how I was set valve lash. I told you I was going to do a video on that. I didn't get a lot accomplished today. You know, these spark plugs gave me a heck of a time, and I don't want to make an hour-long video. So I'm going to go through a little bit and show you how I do the valve lash. And I want to show you this new timing pointer down here that we installed. And if you guys ever buy one of these here, let's get a close-up of it. If you guys ever buy one of these, I had to modify it. You know, I bought it for the 6 1/4 balancer, the super damper, and I actually had to flip this over and do some filing on the backside because it was still rubbing on the harmonic balancer. I got it all good, but if you guys ever go to buy them, it ain't just a bolt-on piece, so just be prepared if you go to buy one of them. But we're going to get set up here, and I'm going to show you, go over real quick how I set the valves on solid roller cams, and set preload on, tell you how to set preload on a hydraulic cam. So we'll be right back at you, and we'll see you here in a second. All right, guys. The way I learned how to setting valve lash on solid roller motors and setting preload is from an old buddy of mine that built race motors his whole life. He's always been into racing, and he taught me at a young age. And he goes by the same method. You know, I did research over the years, and all the big motor companies that I've ran across use the same method. It's called EOIC, and that stands for exhaust opening, intake closing. Okay, so what it means is, actually we'll come down here and I can show you live here. We'll just focus in. That means you'll know your exhaust valve because it's going to be right in line with your exhaust header tube, and your intake is going to be in line with your intake there. So what it means is any movement, which I'm going to show you here. Yep, the EOIC, EOIC. So that means we're looking for any movement on the exhaust to open up that valve. So we're going to roll the motor over and look for movement. Okay, the exhaust rocker started moving, so the valve's starting to open. So we're going to go halfway. Okay, that means the exhaust opening. And then we're going to take our feeler gauges and we're going to check the intake side, intake rocker, and this will be on the base circle of the cam now. So, oh yeah, that's beautiful. What you want, guys, you want to feel, you know, you don't want to be able to have to jam your feeler gauge in there, and you don't want it just to fall in there either. You want it to just, I mean, you can actually almost hear it. That's perfect. So we ain't got to adjust that one. So, okay, the EOIC, that's intake opening, or exhaust opening, intake closing. So now we're going to go to the intake side to adjust that. So now when it says intake closing, that means you got to take the intake and take it all the way down, and then when it starts to come back up, that means it's closing. And then I usually bring it up halfway. Perfect right there. Then we'll take our feeler gauges, which I got mine. It calls for 16 thousandths, but cold I usually set them at 12 because when it heats up with the aluminum heads, it grows. So if I was to just set it at 16, it would be like 18,000 or something. So I usually set them at 12 cold, and it comes out perfect when it's hot. But yeah, that's beautiful. See, like I said, guys, you don't want to have to force that in there. So, I mean, there's different ways of doing it. And when you're doing these stud girdles too, guys, you want to loosen up just this one a little bit, enough to get, when you get your Allen wrench in there, and then you get your 1/2-inch wrench, or 9/16 wrench, excuse me. You break your interlock loose, which is an Allen key. You got this bolt here loosened up a little bit, and then you'll be able to turn these. You never want to adjust these with your stud girdle off. You always want to leave your stud girdle on. Because what happens if you get these set right, perfect, with the whole stud girdle off, you go to put them on, you tighten this back up, and it's going to shift these around. I mean, what this does, it locks everything in place, so you have to have this on when you're setting solid roller stuff. So, yeah, these turned out perfect, guys. So, the EOIC, exhaust opening, intake closing, is perfect, guys, and it'll work every time. Now, on a hydraulic cam, what you would want to do, I'm actually going to take, this is just a hold down for the valve cover, but obviously we ain't got a hydraulic roller cam, so I'm not going to be able to show you how to actually set the preload. But what you do on a hydraulic cam, you got your push rod and you got your rocker arm coming up, and you want to take your fingers and just spin your push rod until you start to feel some drag on it. You know, and you want it to be pretty, not real tight, but you want to have a little bit of force to turn it. That way you know you're at 0 lash. And then once you found that spot, guys, you want to take and then do a half of a turn. And that's going to take, what that does, it's going to take your push rod, shove it down into your lifter a couple hundred thousandths, I think it is, or 250 thousandths, something like that. And that's what the preload is on a hydraulic cam. But, you know, I'd like to actually be able to show you. I'll probably show you again when we get the boy's car done, or get ready to put his valve train on. We'll actually go through it again on how to do the hydraulic stuff. But I figured I'd do this one here because, you know, it's going to take me a while to get these plugs back in. And I figured, well, you know what? It'd be a perfect time to do the video on how to do the valve lash. So that's why I figured I'd do it now. That way I could roll the motor over easy. But I want to just say, guys, I hope everybody out there staying safe and doing what they have to do to stay safe. You know, I'm with every one of you guys, you know, all my subscribers and people who watch. I really appreciate it. And one last thing, I hope you guys have a great Easter tomorrow. We got the grandbaby coming over again. And we're going to have a nice big ham dinner and spend some quality time. And if it ain't too cold out, we're actually going to do a little bit of work on the Monty. But I guess time will tell on that. But until next time, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button. And we'll catch you next time. All right. Bye-bye.